How does a single voice, armed only with words and an unwavering commitment to his people, challenge powerful governments and giant corporations, even when it means facing the ultimate sacrifice? How does one man become a martyr for justice, his story echoing globally long after he has been brutally silenced? This is the deeply moving and critical story of Ken Saro-Wiwa, a Nigerian writer and activist who gave his life fighting for his homeland and his people. Imagine a bright, curious boy named Ken Saro-Wiwa, born in 1941 in a small, vibrant community called Bori, in Ogoniland, southeastern Nigeria. From a young age, Ken showed immense talent. He was a brilliant student, excelling in school and going on to study English at the University of Ibadan. He was a natural storyteller, a gifted writer, and a sharp thinker. Can you picture a young man, passionate about books and words, knowing deep down that his voice had a purpose beyond just telling tales? After his studies, Ken Saro-Wiwa became a successful writer, television producer, and businessman. He was a well-known figure in Nigeria, using his talents to entertain and educate through his popular TV show, Vazi and Company, which was watched by millions across the country. He even served as a commissioner in the regional government for a time. He was a man of great potential, someone who could have lived a comfortable life. But something deeply troubling was happening in his homeland, Ogoniland. For decades, giant oil companies, especially Shell, had been drilling for oil in the Niger Delta. While this brought immense wealth to Nigeria as a country, it brought only destruction and suffering to the Ogoni people. Oil spills poisoned their rivers and farmlands, killing fish and crops. Gas flares burned constantly, lighting up the sky and polluting the air, causing illness. Their sacred lands, their very source of life, were being ruined. Yet the Ogoni people saw almost no benefits from the oil being taken from beneath their feet. Imagine seeing your beautiful land, your home, slowly dying, and your people getting sicker and poorer, while others get rich from what is yours. This was the injustice that burned in Ken Saro-Wiwa's heart. He knew he couldn't stand by and watch his people suffer. He decided to use his powerful voice and sharp mind to fight for justice. In 1990, he helped found the movement for the survival of the Ogoni people, MOSOP. This was a non-violent movement, meaning they chose to protest peacefully, to speak out, and to raise awareness rather than resort to violence. Their goal was simple: for the Ogoni people to have a fair share of the oil wealth from their land and for the environment to be protected. Ken Saro-Wiwa, with MOSOP, drafted the Ogoni Bill of Rights, a document that clearly laid out the demands of his people. He organized massive, peaceful protests, bringing tens of thousands of Ogoni people onto the streets. It was an incredible display of unity and strength, showing the world that these people would not be silenced. His words, his passion, and his unwavering courage became a beacon of hope for his community. The Nigerian military government, which was ruling the country at the time, did not like this challenge to their power and wealth. They saw Ken Saro-Wiwa and MOSOP as a threat. The government, often working closely with the oil companies, responded with increasing brutality. MOSOP activists were harassed, arrested, and sometimes even killed. Ken Saro-Wiwa himself was repeatedly detained and released. Despite the danger, Ken refused to back down. He continued to speak out, both in Nigeria and to the international community, tirelessly advocating for his people and the environment. He traveled, wrote articles, and gave speeches, bravely exposing the injustices faced by the Ogoni. Then came the terrible turning point. In May 1995, four Ogoni chiefs, who were seen as moderate and supportive of the government, were brutally murdered. The military government immediately blamed Ken Saro-Wiwa and other MOSOP leaders, even though they maintained their innocence and were not present at the scene. Ken Saro-Wiwa was arrested along with 8 other Ogoni activists. They were put on trial before a special military tribunal, a court that many international observers called a kangaroo court, meaning it was unfair and biased, designed to secure a conviction. Despite a lack of credible evidence and serious questions about the fairness of the trial, Ken Saro-Wiwa and his 8 co-defendants were found guilty. The world watched with horror and pleaded for mercy. International leaders, human rights organizations, and environmental groups called for their release. But the appeals fell on deaf ears. On November 10, 1995, in a shocking act of state-sanctioned violence, Ken Saro-Wiwa and the Ogoni 9 were executed by hanging. His death, at just 54 years old, sparked outrage and condemnation around the globe. Many countries, including the United States and members of the European Union, imposed sanctions on Nigeria. Shell also faced immense international pressure and criticism for its role in the Niger Delta and its perceived closeness to the brutal military regime. Ken Saro-Wiwa's physical presence was gone, but his spirit became immortal. He became a global symbol of the fight for environmental justice, human rights, and the power of non-violent resistance. His story awakened the world to the devastating impact of corporate greed and governmental corruption on indigenous communities and the environment. Today, Ken Saro-Wiwa's name is synonymous with courage and sacrifice. The struggle for the Ogoni people continues, but his legacy inspires activists and environmentalists worldwide. He taught us that even in the face of overwhelming power, the truth, spoken with courage, can never truly be silenced. His life was a testament to the idea that some things are worth fighting for, even to the very end, and that a single voice can indeed change the world.